CBC Late Night News.
Tonight, mourning the life of a young man gone too soon.
I have a 15-year-old son, so this hit goes to home for me.
A community remembers a teen whose life was cut short. Plus,
you can't ask people to put themselves in harm's way.
the Remembrance Day Poppy campaign is going contactless, but some worry that means less money for veterans. And unveiling a mural for a special resident of Little Jamaica. Good evening, I'm Marivelle Tarouk. An outpouring of heartbreak, but also support in the town of Bradford tonight. Community members held a vigil to honor CM Zareski, the teenager who went missing just over a week ago. The search ended days later after a body was found in a local pond. As Kelda Yoon reports, friends, family, and total strangers came out to pay their respects.
The pain was palpable as members of CM Zareski's family joined hundreds of others for a vigil for the 15-year-old.
Nobody expected this. Even the police, they were not expecting it. Everybody was hoping to get the other way. Sam is very quiet kid. He's been in this country 2 years, and there was a language barrier. He tried too hard for his education.
We are so thankful for this generous community and so kind community. We are so thankful. We don't know how to thank you.
A community including police and the mayor joining together tonight to comfort the family and each other, walking from the local library to the police station.
Again, thank you very much for everybody that came out tonight.
Zareski left his home at 7:45 a.m. on Saturday, October 24th, his disappearance prompting a week-long search. But hope turned to despair Friday when police found a body in a pond near 8th Line and Professor Day Drive.
I was devastated. I have a 15-year-old son, so this hit goes to home for me. You know, you let your kids go out and do whatever with their friends and you don't think twice.
And I'm a mom, and it was heartbreaking every time I had to put my son down, and I gave him a kiss, and I knew that somebody, their parents, could not do that with their son. I hope people go home and hug their kids a little bit stronger, a little bit more.
Zareski's family says the love and support from the community is helping to carry them through.
This is unbelievable, Bradford. Thank you so much for the generosity and the compassion.
Police say the investigation into Zareski's disappearance is continuing. They are still asking the public for tips, which could be submitted via an online portal that's been set up. They will also be providing an update at a news conference tomorrow. Kelda Yoon, CBC News, Bradford.
Police in Pittsburgh have issued an arrest warrant for a member of the Toronto Argonauts. 28-year-old linebacker Jeffrey Knox Jr. is wanted on a series of charges, including 2 counts of attempted homicide. It stems from the shooting of 2 men in his hometown of Pittsburgh 9 days ago. The Argos say the team has not yet decided on any action it may take. Ontario reported nearly 1,000 new COVID-19 cases today, along with 9 new deaths. A total of 977 new cases were reported in the province, with the majority again coming from hotspot areas. Toronto leading the pack with 279, Peel not far behind with 238, Ottawa reporting 130, and York Region coming in at 113. 350 people are currently in hospital, with 72 in the intensive care unit and 46 patients on ventilators. More than 37,000 tests were processed yesterday, well below the province's capacity. Daylight saving time has come to an end, which means we gained another hour today, but it also means fewer daylight hours, and that could result in more accidents on the road. The city is urging drivers to slow down and watch for vulnerable road users. Here in Toronto, pedestrian collisions increased by more than 30% during the evening commute between November and March. To help draw attention to the risks, the city has launched a campaign promoting road safety. Motorists are being asked to slow down, stay alert, and make sure your headlights are working. Well, fall, we hardly knew ya. It's the 1st of November, which means the first snowfall of the year in Toronto. Here's what it looked like tonight as the snow comes down in the city. We had to double check, Christina, and yes, confirming that is from tonight, these visuals. So your forecast is right.
It's incredible, right? It happened so quickly. And I have to let everybody know that if you happen to be on the 401 around London, Ontario, boy, you're going to need those snow tires. It is going to be messy overnight. Toronto, we've already seen that first swath of snow, and I'm showing you here right into the middle of the night. Those flurries are going to continue, but they're really going to start to dissipate. So clear skies for our pre-dawn. But before we get there, let's take another look at this satellite and radar. You're seeing this, everybody, in real time here. You're seeing all of this activity. Our main focus is really southwestern Ontario. If you happen to be near Windsor, London, Sarnia, be very careful, especially along the 401. Toronto, we've already seen that first swath of snow. Now, if you're headed north of the Greater Toronto area, specifically Collingwood, you want to be very cautious as well. Those snow squall warnings have been in place for our Sunday. They have now been dropped from the Toronto area, but once again, our eye here on London pushing northward. This system is going to be pushing towards eastern Ontario. Snowfall accumulation through your Monday. Toronto, less than 2 centimeters, but I will have more details for you coming up in the long-range forecast, and I've got some good news for you, Mary Val.
I think we're going to need it. Thanks, Christina.
Okay.
Well, the pandemic is forcing Remembrance Day gatherings to go virtual this year, but local legions are still working on ways to honor and support veterans. The National Poppy campaign launched on Friday with a focus on contactless donations. But as Dahlia Ashery reports, Legion officials are concerned their fundraising will take a hit.
I would have this draped over me like this, but can't go out and poppy tag, so.
I prefer meeting people myself.
Around this time of year, you're probably used to seeing Legion members like Wayne Powell collecting in-person donations for veterans at public places like malls or subway stations across the city.
No more tagging at subway stations. The other one we missed is the GO stations.
On average, 1,200 to 1,500 counter boxes like these would have been distributed by now. But with COVID restrictions this year,
we're having a little difficulty getting a few people in here to get out and deliver the boxes to some of the stores. And of course, some of the stores don't want to take them because of the pandemic going on.
But there is another way to pay tribute to veterans this year. 250 contactless money donation boxes can be found at several HSBC Canada bank branches across the country. One tap with your phone, debit, or credit card.
It turns green, and you take your poppy. A $2 donation will go to the Legion. During COVID, people are reluctant to touch. And so this solves for all those issues.
But it may not solve all the issues. The Legion may still be impacted this year without in-person tagging and not enough counter donation boxes.
We're not getting the revenue. And without the revenue, and we'll know somewhere after November the 11th, but the revenue could, moving forward, hurt veterans that are coming to us for assistance.
But veteran Henry Walls says while he prefers being out and about meeting people and collecting donations to help other veterans in need,
You can't ask people to put themselves in harm's way. It's a safe way, but I hope next year it goes back to normal.
Dahlia Ashery, CBC News, Toronto.
We got a lot done. We got a lot done.
It's time for Donald Trump to pack his bags and go home.
Just 2 days to go before the U.S. election, and Donald Trump and Joe Biden are fighting it out on the campaign trail. Plus, today is a Mexican holiday called the Day of the Dead, and one group marked it by setting up an altar honoring migrant workers who died of COVID-19. We'll have those stories coming up after the break. A man has been charged with murder in the wake of Saturday's fatal stabbings in Quebec City. 24-year-old Carl Girouard was charged after attacks that left 2 people dead and another 5 injured. He allegedly struck them with a sword. Police say he was dressed on Halloween night in medieval clothing. The stabbings took place across 4 locations and were followed by a 2.5-hour manhunt. Police believe the crime was premeditated but not terrorism related, with the victims chosen at random. The U.S. election campaign is nearing the finish line. Donald Trump had a whirlwind day with 5 key battleground states on his itinerary. Paul Hunter has more on the incumbent's fight to secure another 4 years as president.
Donald Trump in a last-minute 5-state sprint today, trying to shore up votes in so-called battlegrounds.
A little tough out here.
Seeking to rev up supporters in Michigan, Iowa, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Remarkably, each place a state Donald Trump won 4 years ago.
Does anybody have a coat I could use, please?
Indeed, in snowy Michigan, where Trump narrowly beat Hillary Clinton in 2016, he now trails Joe Biden and has trailed him for months. Trump's tack today, with time running out, stoking fear and making mockery.
Biden will plunge America and the world into one ridiculous war after another. Joe Biden is a corrupt politician. He's bought and paid for by China. He's a tough guy, right? With his sunglasses. His new deal is his sunglasses.
It's been that kind of campaign for Trump, who, if polls are correct, faces becoming the first sitting president in nearly 30 years to fail in a bid at re-election. Today, even trying to win votes by making fun of Syrian refugees, calling them one of Michigan's biggest issues. But
with this weather, you don't have to worry about it. They'll never come. They're never coming. You sent him here that said, I'm going back. This is terrible.
Trump's strategy seems to be to energize those who stand by him no matter what, to make sure they do what he needs most from them next week: vote. It worked 4 years ago. And today, he urged backers to once again prove the polls wrong. In Iowa tonight,
vote, vote, vote. Join the red wave.
And in Michigan earlier,
you better get out there and vote.
The crowd chanted, "We love you." And in return, said Trump,
I love you too.
Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Trump's opponent spent the day in Pennsylvania. Joe Biden is hoping to round up more support in the swing state. CBC's Susan Ormiston has more from a city already on edge after days of unrest.
This last week in Philadelphia has been scarring. In the heart of the city, the National Guard is on patrol, called up. Blocks of businesses boarded up. After another black man was shot by police here last Monday.
Everybody's upset everywhere, not just around here. It happened too many times, too many different people.
The other night, they looted all these stores. That's why the wood is up here. Due to the fact
and
that,
now this election.
It's about time. 4 years couldn't go past fast enough. He's lying to the American people. People is dying by the droves every day. He acting like this COVID is a joke.
Pennsylvania is poised to be a tipping point state. Trump took it along with Michigan and Wisconsin back in 2016, breaking through what's called the blue wall. Now Biden is trying to bring back the blue with a slim lead here.
5155.
With 48 hours to go, millions in this state have already voted, and volunteers are trying to track down every remaining Biden vote. Bruno Gransard's been door knocking for Democrats for nearly a year.
I don't want to have any regrets about not having done a maximum effort to replace this terrible president that we have with someone who's decent.
Are you nervous?
No, I'm excited.
But plenty are jittery, remembering how the polls in 2016 failed to pick up a late shift of the vote and Trump broke through.
The first batch of votes.
This time, says Dave Wasserman, is likely different.
Biden has a larger lead in the polls, but it's also a more stable lead. The poll chart of 2016 looked kind of like an EKG, where Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were up or down. It was a roller coaster depending on who had stepped in it on any given day.
In contrast, the Biden campaign has been relatively stable, carefully controlled, with another drive-in rally, invite only, tonight in a Philadelphia park, as Joe Biden wound up for one of his last pitches to America before the vote.
In 2 days, we can put an end to a presidency that has divided this nation.
CBC's Susan Ormiston reporting. A group of activists marked the Mexican holiday, the Day of the Dead, by honoring migrants who have died during the pandemic.
Today, we demand all migrants in Canada, regardless of how they came grant for immigration status for all now. Immigration status for all now. Immigration status for all now.
The migrant rights group set up a Day of the Dead altar in Dufferin Grove Park with pictures of the dead. They say migrants in Canada who have contracted COVID-19 are especially vulnerable, and many have died because they're excluded from universal health care, access to emergency income supports, and steady work. They're calling for permanent immigration status for migrants as the second wave of COVID-19 ramps up. CBC News has learned new details about the review into alleged workplace harassment at Rideau Hall. More than 50 people have now agreed to be interviewed about accusations against the Governor General and a close associate. Ashley Burke has the details.
The Governor General continues to carry out her duties while more than 50 people meet with an Ottawa firm hired to review the culture in her office. Former employees claim Julie Payette has belittled, berated, and publicly humiliated staff, and her second in command has allegedly bullied them too, creating a toxic work environment.
We have engaged a third-party reviewer to follow up on these serious allegations.
Sources say the number of participants is higher than the government expected, and the list keeps growing. It's not only current and former Rideau Hall staff coming forward, but employees from other departments like the RCMP and Global Affairs.
They might be supporters of her as well.
This workplace investigator, who is not involved in the case, says likely not everyone will have legitimate complaints or bad words to say.
I would say, as an investigator, you're also wanting to give a voice to each of those people and understand what they've been through.
More employees left Rideau Hall last month. Sources say some made it clear it was because of the toxic work environment. And now more tension. Sources say Payette has created her own cabinet, bringing in staff from outside government who are exempt from code of conduct, financial and ethical rules to do the work of public servants and protect her personal interests.
To have exempt staff meddle in the day-to-day operation of the office of the Governor General should be of concern to all Canadians.
The Governor General's press secretary denies that the 6 exempt staff are involved in the day-to-day operations of the department and said in a statement Payette does have the authority to hire from outside government to support her mandate. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
The depiction really is of Jimmy Wisdom. It kind of shows him in his native Jamaica.
Little Jamaica gets a big tribute. Coming up, we'll have the story of a community leader known as Jimmy Wisdom. This is video of the strongest Pacific typhoon of the season. It tore through the main island of the Philippines today. Storm surges hit coastal towns, raging rivers destroyed dikes, and some villages were submerged. There are also reports of homes being buried under mud and volcanic rock. At least 16 people have died and hundreds of thousands have fled their homes, prompting heightened concerns over potential COVID-19 spread. Christina's back with the long range and a promise of better news for the rest of the week.
Absolutely, Maribel. So you got to stick around for this whole segment here. So Monday morning, we're already looking better, right at the freezing mark, feeling like -7. By the way, seasonal, we should be at about 10 degrees Celsius. So your Monday, Toronto at 5 degrees, Oakville 5 degrees. You're seeing this activity, but pushing east. That's because this system is in a rush to get into eastern Ontario. Monday overnight, we're still not below 0. So Toronto, 3, which is pretty good, right? And check out your Monday evening overnight. So out goes that cold front. You're seeing a swath of snow come in, but that's really going to be penetrating towards Ottawa and Bancroft. So once again, eastern Ontario. But check this out. Here's this southerly flow. This is the area of our focus right now. So greater Toronto area, get ready to warm up for this week ahead. Your Tuesday already looking better. Toronto at 8 degrees. Markham 7 degrees, Brampton 8 degrees, plenty of sunshine, little bit of cloud cover. Here's your good news, Maryville. Wednesday, Toronto 15 degrees, plenty of sunshine across the board. Guelph 15 degrees, Niagara Falls, if you're heading there, 14 degrees, plenty of sunshine. A look at the next 7 days. So your Monday, 5 degrees, feeling like 0. Your Tuesday, 8 degrees. Here are your beautiful conditions above seasonal. Wednesday, 15 degrees, Thursday, 16 degrees, and Friday and Saturday, plenty of sunshine along the way. So everybody get out there and enjoy the beautiful week ahead, and I'll see you next weekend.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for those teen temperatures, Christina.
You're welcome. See you next weekend.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, a familiar face is now back in the city's Little Jamaica neighborhood. A mural has gone up honoring Jimmy Wisdom, a barber and musician who was a staple in the community. He died last year. Now, an artist is paying tribute to the community with a 15-foot tall painting.
So it's been a busy, very busy 5 days. A lot has changed in this, this small little corner, which has been great. So the mural that I've painted here is to commemorate the naming of this strip of roadway, which is now going to be called Jimmy Wisdom Way. Jimmy Wisdom owned a barbershop right around the corner from here. And everybody loved him. He was, he championed a lot of things in the community. It's a lot of changes that came about on his behalf. So he's definitely been recognized enough so that we're now able to paint this mural of him. The depiction really is of Jimmy Wisdom, more so as he's, he passed away last year. It kind of shows him in, his native Jamaica. And I have a couple of depictions of him, not just the formative one that you see here, but there's also a younger version of him, full size in the background, as well as a painting of him cutting hair, as he's a barber here in the community. Well, it's great to, as an artist, to have the opportunity to paint murals that commemorate or to highlight, prominent members of our community. I didn't know him personally, but as I've been painting here, people have been coming by. I was fortunate to meet his wife. Came by yesterday, as well as his daughter. They were really pleased and happy, and were able to, express that he would have been happy to see this mural painted of him.
It's a beautiful tribute. And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you for watching. We're going to leave you with more shots of the first snowfall of the season. Have a great night, everyone. Stay warm.